I'm your host, Madrina, and welcome to Rolling with Madrina. I'm a community service organizer, motivational speaker, and an advocate for the people. I am living proof that your struggle can be your story and your trauma can be your triumph. I've dedicated my life to giving back, and I want you to roll with me while I speak with those in our community who are doing what they do best. Now watch and listen for what you can do to join their cause. Aloha and thank you for watching Rolling with Madrina here at Blab TV. I've got another exciting episode for you tonight or today, depending on when you're watching it. You're going to know who my guest is. She's been on Rolling with Madrina, I think, maybe twice or some before. You will know her formally with Ready Kids, but who am I talking about? I'm talking about Ruthie Noel with Achieve Escambia. I met her through Ready Kids, and now our sister friend, Christy Craig, who's a friend of mine and a fellow leaper, is she the executive director there now?
She sure is.
And a great representation of Ready Kids, but you have been given an opportunity from Achieve Escambia, which a lot of us know about, and Ruthie and I have done some chatting off camera to talk about Achieve Escambia and the Children's Trust and what is all that, and if you're like me, you're seeking some clarification. I also want to know about the different programs that Achieve Escambia is rolling out, all the things that help our community achieve.
That's right.
Right?
That's it.
So sis, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So here we are in, late February 2024. How long have you been now with Achieve?
So I went full time in July of 2023. So I've had a little over half a year under my belt. Time is flying.
But nonprofit work, helping the community, helping children, none of that's new for you.
That's right. That's right. This is my wheelhouse. This is my calling. And so I am excited about this work, about the opportunity, like you said, being in this role, and super grateful to get to come here to share the mission.
Yeah. So tell us, what is Achieve Escambia?
So Achieve Escambia is a nonprofit. It is a nonprofit organization in our community. And it is the backbone, that's the term we use, in collective impact to improve education outcomes across the community. And so if you think about Ready Kids and the school district and the Children's Trust and the Art Gateway, all these different players doing their incredibly amazing work, Achieve is the place where all of those players can convene and measure our results collectively and make sure, my favorite lately analogy has been singing from the same sheet of music.
Love that.
Yeah.
What occurred to me in my mind, I get these little visions sometimes that pop in. It's like all of them have their own lane on a freeway. And you guys help oversee that freeway, and everybody has their own lane and their specialty and their talent. And so, what did Achieve become Children's Trust? Is Children's Trust Achieve? What?
Great questions. Glad you asked. So, backing up a little bit, way back, if you remember 2020, there was the opportunity in our community through a referendum to establish what's called a Children's Services Council.
What year was that?
That was 2020. Can you believe it? It was that long ago.
Wow.
And in the midst of everything, unprecedented times and all of that.
Right.
So our community had the opportunity to establish this Children's Services Council, and at the time, the leadership, the staff, the Leadership Council, which serves as the board of Achieve Escambia, all said, we are all in. This is the most important work we can do right now. Let's get this referendum.
That was an added tax, right? A little.
Yes. So it's an ad valorem tax, and so it's a increase to property tax that generates between about $8 and $11 million a year to fund services for children 0 to 18 in our community where they're most needed. It's a well-established model. It is across our state and now in a couple other states as well. And
were we the pioneers? Florida?
Florida went first. Can you believe that?
Really?
Florida went first, yes.
And establishing a Children's Trust.
Yes, and so ours here is called the Escambia Children's Trust, and it's part of state statute, and it is very, well governed in the Sunshine Law, and it essentially serves as the funding mechanism to say, do you have a program that serves children, and is it demonstrating outcomes? Is it sort of up to snuff, if you will? And if so, then here's the opportunity to apply for some funding.
It's a little bit of vetting, because just like with Impact 100, you don't want to hand somebody money, give them a grant, and put them in charge of implementing a project when they haven't demonstrated the ability to do that. So in order to be good stewards of the money,
That's it.
You're going to check with the organization to see what their experience is. That's
Exactly.
reasonable.
Exactly. And so what's interesting in this case, because the Achieve team really helped push that referendum to success, it's been confusing, right? Of like, okay, well, so now we have the trust. What does Achieve do? What do we do here? In other communities where this works really well, we have the Children's Services Council, and we have a nonprofit that stands alone, a separation of church and state. And that nonprofit is the one that does the convening, that says, everybody come together. Impact is a great example, because now in Impact, nonprofits can team up, right? And they can apply jointly. So all of that type of matchmaking and, hey, you do this to help hungry people, you do this to help hungry people. Are you in awareness of each other? Reducing duplication, and making sure that if there are gaps, we're finding them. All of that really needs to happen outside. The Children's Trust is really here to say, yes, you're qualified to get this type of funding, or no, you're not.
And this is how much?
This is how much, and this is where we know the needs are in the community. So they have that needs assessment. We know where the greatest needs are. The Children's Trust, in my opinion, is doing that boring government work of saying, yes or no, you get funded, no, you don't, with this government contract. Outside of that work is where the creativity happens, and where the programs are refined, and the capacity of the nonprofits is built so that more of them are qualified.
And Achieve is part of that?
Achieve is part of that. Achieve is part of that, specifically in the education space. So not all things to all people, because as we know, that doesn't work very well. But in the education space, and what Achieve's tagline is, cradle to career. So all the way through, just like the Studer Community Institute starts giving out resources, brain bags for parents the day a baby's born, all the way through career readiness, and folks like Career Source Escarosa and our local chambers, making sure that these students, when they're graduating high school, have a plan and they are ready to join our local economy. So it's that whole spectrum.
So Achieve Escambia is still part of pushing the ball further down the field. You're separate from the Children's Trust, but you do exchange information and whatnot.
Yes. Oh, yeah. We are in, I would say, partnership, and just mostly great awareness of each other. So understanding the Children's Trust priorities, their strategic planning, and their new leadership. That is a huge part of my job, so that when I'm out calling the meetings and convening all of the other agencies together, we can say, here's what we know they're looking to fund. Here's sometimes technical assistance, like how Impact does those workshops to help, like, let us hold your hand so that if you're applying for this, you are as prepared as you can be. That's an opportunity that Achieve can be that part to play for the
And there's
trust.
other organizations such as Achieve that are holding the hands with the Children's Trust and playing the same game as well, so to speak.
Yes.
Okay, so they're not making just the decisions out there willy-nilly on their own and getting some simple little application. It's a full process that they go through. And so I know you're not here to represent the Children's Trust.
That's right, I'm
but
not.
because Achieve Escambia has been so effective, or part of it, where are we on the Children's Trust? Are they still funding? They fund every year? What's been going on?
Yes.
Just in short.
Yes. So the short version is that it's authorized through the year 2030, and then it'll be back on the ballot, and we can say as a community, we still want to keep this. We're still willing to pay this. There is a new leader coming. My understanding is that she'll be coming soon, if not now. And she's fantastic, just fabulous, very well qualified. And that is probably our best bet moving forward, because if you think, when the first leader was here and she started, she didn't even have a laptop. Now there's a staff, and there are offices, and programs are getting funded. And so it is rolling right along. The board is developing, and that with that new leadership and a strategic plan in place, I think never been a better time for the Children's Trust to take off.
Do you get funding from the Children's Trust?
I do
Silly
not.
question. I mean, Achieve Escambia.
Achieve could potentially in other communities. Like again, if they put out an RFP offering technical assistance, that's something I could apply for to say, am I qualified to get that funding? Yeah. But the short version is no, totally separate organizations funded very differently. But just again, trying to work together, so that we're all working really hard. Like let's work hard in the same direction.
Right. And so Achieve stands on its own.
Yes.
And its mission is also educationally centric, so to speak. What is your biggest mission or the biggest thing that you do?
Sure. So it's interesting being in this role and different for me because Achieve does not provide services and we're not running programs the way you would think if you think Ready Kids, Reading Pals. Right. So we're in this sort of long game of systems change. And so our mission is to align community resources so everyone is empowered to achieve success. And that's pretty lofty. And so what that looks like...
I mean, that's a big goal.
That's a big
goal. Because if you think over here in education, is it only education?
So in the education space, we do partner really closely with Achieve Healthy Escarosa, which is a similar mission in the health space. So again, you start to get into the world and there's some overlap.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to say. But if you've got it's broad, if you're thinking of education and health and just so much there.
There's a lot. And so this is how it works. This is what's exciting. Is if you think that cradle to career, we have a dashboard with some key metrics that we can agree collectively, whichever organization you're a part of. These are important. Kindergarten readiness is one of them. High school graduation rates is one of them. 3rd grade reading, 7th grade math, just these things that we know predict how well a student is going to do going forward. And so it's really that invitation of if kindergarten readiness is something that's important to your organization or in any way impact, come join us. Join this where we are collective, we're in awareness of each other. You get to be part of something bigger than just your mission, especially some of our small nonprofits in our community that they're busy doing the work. So let us be the convener and the one that sort of guides it together based on data, right, of course, and then the opportunity for advocacy. So Achieve is also a space where we could have a collective voice for the human services sector in our community or say, what do we need from our local elected officials? What do we need to see change at the systems level where if you're down, and you're feeding people or you're reading to kids, you don't have time. You probably don't have capacity to be having those conversations. So that is another part that Achieve plays through the convening, advising, and the advocacy part.
Wow, quite the mothership you guys are here. And
that's the idea.
And helping us all achieve.
That's right.
All right, well, we're going to take a short break from Rolling with Madrina. And when we come back, we're going to hear more from Ruthie and about some exciting programs you're going to want to know about. We'll be right back.
Do you want to create but don't know where to start? Our new fabric line will inspire you. If you can dream it, we can help you make it. From using kits that include everything you would need, to taking classes to create something more personalized, Daryl's is the place for you. No matter if you're just beginning or experienced, Daryl's has you covered. Find us at 6705 North Davis Highway. Open 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday and 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturdays.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
Hi, I'm Madrina. Be a mover and shaker in our community by helping others overcome problems ranging from health to substance abuse, from personal safety to neighborhood issues, from taking care of your kids to taking care of your parents. Come on our show and tell people how you did it. Be a community hero and watch Rolling with Madrina, Thursday nights at 8:30, only on Blab TV.
What do an aerospace engineer, cancer immunologist, and bat scientist all have in common? We all have cool jobs in STEM fields. Whether it's building robots or learning to code, girls everywhere are finding their passion for science, technology, engineering, and math through positive role models and mentors. So dare to dive in, get connected, and explore. You never know what your future may hold. Learn more about these and even more cool jobs at shecanstem.com.
Welcome back to Rolling with Madrina. I've got my sister here from Achieve Escambia, Ruthie Noel. I just love doing that. It's just one of my things. I guess I'm secretly wanted to be Vanna. But we just so much to talk about. We were talking during the whole break. There's just so much there. But sis, we talked off camera about some cool programs and different things. Let's get into the heart of what Achieve Escambia's got to offer.
All right. So I'm really excited. There's 2 big projects going on right now. And if you think Achieve is Cradle to Career, one you are very familiar with is the Help Me Grow model.
Ooh, Art Gateway.
Go Art Gateway.
Yes.
Huge fans, and they are the lead agency on standing up that model here in our community. That is just an incredible resource for parents. Really anybody, if you've got kids 0 to about age 8 or 9, it is just the easiest way to get the help you need if you have any type of little red flag going up. It's a partnership with 211, so it's going to be really easy to access. There's reciprocity of referral. It's incredible. So check that out. That's Help Me Grow Escambia. And the way Achieve supports that work is our Escambia Early Childhood Collaborative. So again, all those folks who are in the early childhood space come together. We meet every other month. That's going to serve as the leadership council meeting for the Help Me Grow model. And so we'll be staying really closely just in lockstep as that model gets stood up, that it's fully staffed now. So we'll be the ones, again, just convening and helping organize the work. And that's just a game changer for our community. And that was actually, I will say, funded by the Children's Trust. So thank you very much to our taxpayers for investing in our kids this way, because that is just going to change the landscape for parents. You know, if you get a notification or some teacher, some kind of red flag goes up that your kid has a delay or a need and you don't even know where to start, now all you have to do is call 211 and everything is mapped out, laid out, and working well together.
I love it. And thank you for sharing that, Ruthie. Parents need to know that. And, you know, people think, well, it's not my kid, or I don't have kids, or I don't have, like, why is it so important to invest in our children?
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you asked that. It is well, I'll say this. I think it's the right thing to do, individually, child by child. It also is our local economy. If you think about you know, some of our largest employers here in the community, healthcare in the community. You might not have kids, but you're probably going to need a doctor at some point. And so wouldn't you like that doctor to know how to read and be well-rounded and well-educated? And our military. So as we know, the military is like the heartbeat of our community, and we have got to have a great place for those families to come, and that includes when they bring their children to be raised here and in our school system. And so again, we are working across the spectrum. So like on that Help Me Grow, on the early childhood side of things. On the other end, we've got our local college access network working on what's called the FAFSA Challenge. Achieve did this a couple of years ago. We're bringing it back, and that's free money for college.
What?
So that's where you can go apply in your senior year of high school. You apply. It's a federal application, and it's free.
At the beginning of your senior year, or the end, or you go to your counselor?
Well, usually, this year is different. Usually it would open in October. This year it did just open at the very end of December because the IRS it has changed the form. And so the federal government changed the form. It's going through its own kind of set of issues. However, what that does is it gives us time in the community to say, get your paperwork together. You're going to need your tax return information, that type of thing. And so what that does, it does really 2 really big important things. Number one is families who are eligible, you know, based on low income are gonna get the opportunity to have grants for college, and that's money you do not pay back. That is not student loans. That's not deferred.
Is that the typical federal scale, or?
So they widened it this year. So that's called Pell Grants, and they changed the eligibility to include more people. So never been a better time to apply.
Right.
The other thing, if you're sitting there thinking, well, I don't apply, we're not need based. if you fill out your FAFSA, that opens doors for you based on what school you're going to. So if your student is applying to Pensacola State, they're going to have scholarships available at that institution, merit-based. So not need-based, but like grades, or I mean, you can get a scholarship if your hair is blonde. There's all kinds of scholarships that get left on the table, but that you have to do that FAFSA first, and it's the door opener. So even if you're thinking we don't qualify, we make too much money, do it anyway, because that also is the door opener if you ever want to do a work study for the government.
Yeah.
And so it opens up.
Get you locked into some other opportunities.
Lots
Where
of
does
doors.
someone find that information?
Oh, you can look up, so it's the free application for federal student aid, as we talked about. It's the hardest thing to say, FAFSA.org. You can Google that and find it really easily.
Do you have a link on your website by chance?
Yes, we absolutely do. Also,
go.
some results of the last time we did the FAFSA challenge, which was an Achieve-led, again, across the school district is involved, the guidance counselors there, the out-of-school time, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Boys and Girls Club. That's the beauty of the collective impact, is that everybody, sports coaches, can be talking about this with their high school seniors, and then also the parents. So that's kind of the tricky part about FAFSA, is that you got to have mom and dad involved, and there's some paperwork. So start now, get going, get your FSA ID. That's the part you're going to need. And then
How much is typically the money they give them? Are you talking about $500, $5,000, or a year's worth of tuition, or
Oh, gosh.
what could it be?
It could be, the sky's the limit. It could be, now this again, if you're looking at Pell Grants, that is going to be based on need. But the last time we did this in Escambia County, it was over $2 million in scholarships to Escambia County seniors.
Really?
So there is every opportunity for that need-based, and you know, $500, that's some textbooks.
Right.
That
No,
goes-
it's all helpful.
It all
I just didn't
helps,
know if it was a
but-
scale or how they judged that.
They will judge, and so they will judge based on income for the Pell Grants. But again, even if you're thinking we make way too much money to get a Pell Grant, that's okay. Fill it out anyway, because you don't know what doors you're closing if you don't do it.
Right.
When you get into that school, when you get into, maybe working while you're in school, and you want to, get a little bit of student, like some pocket money. There's also, if you get multiple scholarships, you can stack those. And if you get that Pell Grant, but your scholarships covered your tuition and books, that's money in your pocket.
Nice.
And that you don't pay back.
For seniors in high school to apply.
Seniors in high school to apply.
Not for adults who want to go back to college or
Sadly,
anything like that.
Well, FAFSA can be filled out for adults. Our focus, of course, with Achieve is going to be those high school seniors, but that is also an opportunity for the community. And there's support. I'll mention the TRIO office is housed at Pensacola State College. They are there to help with that for adults as well. So yes, you can go back to school.
Who needs Achieve Escambia? Who calls you? Other nonprofits only, or who needs you?
So the place where Achieve sits is that the space where it's other nonprofits. Also, I would say we're here to help support the school district. We're here to help support the Children's Trust, and we're here to help inform the business community. So our leadership council is comprised of the top players in our community when it comes to the CEOs, the presidents, the leaders of our largest employers, Navy Federal Credit Union, Baptist Healthcare, Florida Power and Light, University of West Florida, Pensacola State. The school district itself, our superintendent is on the leadership council. And so this is the space where we have these brilliant top players in the room focused on education, so I hear from them, what do you need for your workforce? And then they hear from us, what does the education space need? What does the child well-being space need? So that they can help make that investment in our community. And so that is where it really becomes this kind of beautiful
And then they
circle.
do? Could you give me an example of something that was brought up as a need that was later implemented? I mean,
Sure. So in previous years with Achieve Escambia, the Community Partnership School, which is an amazing project headed up by the Children's Home Society, Achieve Escambia got to play a part in that and said, we want to make C.A. Weiss Elementary a community partnership school. And Achieve got to come to those top brass in the business world here in our community and say, here's what it's going to take. Are you willing to invest and do some of that fundraising and some of that sustainability? And also to be able to say, in that case, we had a 3-year-old pre-K classroom and we want certified teachers in there. So not, again, to our point earlier about not just do we have a program, but is this really good? Yeah. And is this everything we need to make it work? And and it did, and it was beautiful. And so now the community partnership school model is growing, and with all the accolades to the Children's Home Society. But that's just a great example of what it looks like.
All right, we've got just 3 minutes left in this segment. What else does the community need to know about the resources for Achieve Escambia? Not necessarily the citizens of our community, but the nonprofits that are listening.
Oh, yes. I would say if you are in any way in the space of cradle to career in human services, if you are looking to provide education or resources to parents, come join us. We'll have those convening meetings. We will have the opportunity to say, as the Children's Trust leadership gets underway with their strategic plan, the school district gets underway with its strategic plan, our goal is to make sure those students do not fall through the gaps. So if you play a part in that or want to volunteer with that, Ruthie@achieveescambia.org. You can email me and I will get you plugged into the right place to make the biggest difference.
Because there's no need to recreate the wheel if you've already got some lanes already developed.
That's right.
They could just step into those lanes.
Exactly. And that's kind of, I want to do one day no more nonprofits. Like, come see what's already happening. See who you can come alongside, who we can partner with.
Isn't that the truth, sis? I've been doing this show. This is the beginning of 7 years. And already in 7 years, and I'll think, that's another domestic violence, and then another. And I always think to myself, can we all come together and make it one bigger and one better and bring it all together? But of course, that's not how it works. People have dreams and desires and their own personal journeys, and then they want to do something differently, and that's all great. But I just picked up real quick on what you said.
That's right.
Please, no more nonprofits. We've got what we need if we could all work together. And you're the one that can help drive that bus.
This is the one.
Beautiful. Any last words for the nonprofits before we have to head out?
Thank you. Thank you for everything you do. We appreciate everything you give to pour into our community.
Right. And when they come to you, sis, you have some other tools that can help them expand their organization. You just have so much for them.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, and I'll say this, too. The Pensacola State College has a Center for Nonprofit Excellence.
Oh, it's amazing. I've been to some classes there, and you can get go ahead, sis.
Oh, yeah. So you can get certified now. So Achieve is participating in the inaugural cohort, and just great gratitude to Andrea Krieger and her team. So I would say if you were thinking about starting a nonprofit, don't. Look what else is there. But if you already have one, there is certification available, and it is incredible. And I will be in the classes too, so I will see you there.
All right, Ruthie, we'll see you there. Reach out to Achieve Escambia should you need them. And thank you for watching Rolling with Madrina. We appreciate it. And thank you, Ruthie, for all you do in our community.
Well, thank you.
All right. Aloha.